Hey everybody, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. Sorry about the delay. I was trying to get everything set up right. Something is making my fan run like really high, and so I've been closing down Windows, and if I would have had more time I just would have restarted the computer completely, but I didn't want it to affect the video quality because I'm noticing like the last day or two the fan's been running pretty loudly, and there'll be weird parts of the videos, either recording or the streams, where things just kind of slow down a little bit. Anyway, I think it's working now. Let me know if there's something wrong with the quality, and I'll do what I can to get that fixed. Alright, so hey everyone, see a lot of people in the live chat saying hello. Alright, so here's the plan today. We're going to do pretty much what we did yesterday. Maybe we'll get into some different things, but we're still going to keep working on this site. And if you're just joining us for the first time, or you haven't been around for a while, we're working with React, we're working with GraphQL, NextJS, we're using WordPress as headless CMS. So we have a lot going on. We're doing some transfer of data from one database to another. So we're going to do a little bit of whatever we need to do today to get things moving. So I had a meeting this morning, and I kind of reported on our progress for the site, and I think most of the people were impressed by how it's coming. They're anxious to see something, so it'd be cool to get it to a point where it'd be reasonable to allow other people to see it and test it. All right. Hey, Gideon's here. I haven't seen Gideon in here for a while. How's it going, Gideon? You're stuck. Video's broken. Oh no, the video's broken again? Huh. I just don't understand. Alright. Yeah, let me switch to the other. Let's switch to this screen. Did any of you see the switch? Let me know. Right now you should see me really small down in the corner, and then you should see the desktop on one of my screens. Alright, everybody, yay, looks like everyone can see me. Well, I don't want to say everyone. Some of you can see. Alright, so my fan on my computer is still running, pretty loudly, which is weird. So I'm still really not sure what the problem is with that. But if it's fine for most people, then we'll go with it. And so sorry about the delay. That's going to be terrible in the recording, but at least anybody watching could just skip ahead, I guess. Rumble Bros says, if you're using OBS, drop the video encoding level down a notch. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. It's just weird. I've been using the same settings for the last 6 months, and they've been fine. I haven't changed anything. In fact, I've actually double the amount of RAM I have on my machine. So it's just odd that all of a sudden I'm having these problems. So maybe after the stream I'll check out my settings, lower them a little bit, and see if I can get a better result. I definitely want to keep 1080p quality because it makes the code so much easier to read. I'm running right now. Harshit said check the task manager. I've checked the task manager for Chrome. Well, the Chrome tab manager. I've checked that and got rid of pretty much everything. I'm down to just a few tabs open now. You know, I have to have YouTube up. I have to have the stuff up that I'm working with, but pretty much everything else is closed right now. I closed Slack. Let me close my email. We're using Outlook for work. I'm just going to close everything. Let me close out Chrome Canary, so I'm not using it right now. OBS. Let's see. Yeah, there's not much else that I could even close out. I mean, maybe I do have a lot of projects open in Visual Studio Code, but I'm working on all those projects. All right, I'm not going to check it all out during the stream. If it starts to get bad, I'll go back and check things out. But thanks. I will check the resource monitor on Mac, and so thanks for the advice, Rumble Bros and. All right, cool. I'll make sure I go back through and reread this advice when the stream's over, and I'll work on it. What's this? Go to Harshit says go to the terminal and type top. All right. Oh, nice. Harshit. Awesome. I never knew you could do that. All right, well, let's check this out. So here's a really good tip. We can see what's going on here. All right. Whoa. All right. Code helper. So I'm guessing that code helper has something to do with Visual Studio Code, and that is taking up by far the most. Oh, what's this? Well, Chrome is taking up the most, it looks like, but I can't really do much about the windows I have open now, so I need them open. Alright, let's see what I have running on Visual Studio Code and what I can shut down. I do have, let's see what I don't need. I don't need this. And where's my other stuff? Did they not open? When I restarted all my code windows, there they are. Alright, I was worried for a second I'd lost everything. Alright, so this is, alright, I was working on this, but I'm not going to work on it for the stream, so I'll shut that down. We will use this one. Let's make that bigger, and we will use, let's see if I have any other things running here. No, it shouldn't have anything running. So, alright, let me close out of that for a second, because I do want to run yarn dev we're going to need to run this anyway. So I'll just get it started right now, and then I can start ngrup. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to paste this in the live chat. Oh, okay. Blake's asking about what I have. Yeah, I upgraded to 32 gigs of RAM sometime within the last 6 months or so. Let me see what the rest is about this Mac. I'll move it over here. It's really small though. I doubt you'll be able to see the text, but yeah. So I've 32 gigs of RAM, Intel Core i7. 2 gigs graphics. All right. Yeah, I mean, that seems like it should be able to handle live streaming something, especially since I've done it. Yeah, but I'm still, it looks like I'm still dropping some frames. I'm dropping like 2% of the frames. I need to learn more about how video works. If I'm going to live stream every day, then maybe I ought to learn how to do this properly. Alright, so sorry for all the trouble. I'll just have to dig more into this at some point. Hopefully we've closed out enough things that we can just work. I don't need this open. We don't really need that open. We are going to work with this. And what's this? Migrate. Yeah, we are working with this. So let's leave this open. And let's see. I guess I can close this out. We need one timer open, so I'll leave that open. And I don't really need this Trello board right now. What are we getting down? We're getting down pretty lean here. Not much else I can do. Alright. Alright, Harshit's asking about the encoding format that I'm using. And let's see. Trying to find it. I don't remember offhand what I was using, and now I can't remember where it's at in my settings. Alright. Oh, it looks like it's okay now. Alright. Yeah, let's get to work. Good idea, Harshit. Alright, so let's at least get this open. So here's our site, and there's our cute dog. This is what we had done, just kind of get a little layout here. Still haven't had a chance to show this to my boss. I'm going to try. I tried to go in earlier to see him, and he had already left for lunch. So I'm going to try after the stream today and see if he's in. He's just been really busy lately with meetings and stuff. So let's see. Yeah, so we have some work to do. Oh, I do want to show you, before I forget, what do we have? Let me show you the GitHub repo now, because I've updated a lot of things. I think did I show y'all yesterday? I may have, but oops, forgot to start the Pomodoro timer. Let's start that up. And alright, so just to let everyone know, we have a project now, and you can check this out. You can check things out here, or if you just want to go to the Issues tab, there's a bunch of issues open. If anyone's interested in trying to contribute to a project, go ahead. If you're new and you've never contributed to a project before, check these out. You can ask me. I'd be happy to help you get your first GitHub pull request merged. So I'm going to eventually go through these, but I'm going to hold off a little bit, and then that way if anybody does want to contribute, these are kind of all laid out, what needs to be done. If you're not exactly sure what needs to be done, just leave a comment on that issue, and then I can give you more information for that. So what I think we should do now is, let me make sure I'm on the right network. Alright, cool. Let's grab some more data and bring over, let's see, what do I want to bring over? Let's see if we can bring over our department pages. How did the search input field animate in the previous? Oh, alright. Actually, we do have a question about one of these issues now, and that's a really good question. I should have put this in here anyway. Let's see, which one is that? There we are. So for this issue, on-click the search icon in the top bar should expand to reveal a text field. So let's find a project that this happens on. It was the bulletin, wasn't it? Let's see if I have this up here already. I don't think I do. I believe we had this working properly on the bulletin. Yeah, let's try that out. Yeah, let me make this a bit bigger. For anybody who's not familiar with using the command line, this will be kind of like a little intro, because I'm going to do some basic stuff, and then I'm going to do some just a few commands with like starting a server up. So we're going to cd, we're going to change our directory, and I'm going to go into my projects directory, and then I'm going to do an ls, and that's going to tell me everything that's in my projects directory, and I'm looking for something that's bulletin, so bulletin react is the folder I'm looking for. So I want to cd into there, bulletin react. Notice I didn't type it all out. I typed in bul and then hit tab, and the rest of it auto-completed. So that's kind of a cool feature. It'll save you a lot of time typing, and you won't make as many mistakes because you're not trying to type out the whole field. So now that we have this, let's open, I'm going to open it in text. So let's go nano package JSON. So I'm going to open it in this little editor called Nano. It's a really simple editor that'll open right in our terminal. You'll see. So it just opened here, and I can see what's in here. I could edit it, and it has a lot of the commands you can use right here. A lot of the keyboard shortcuts. But what I want to see is what our startup script is. Looks like start will work for us. Alright, so I'm going to close this out, and to close this out I just hit Control X, and that closes out Nano. Since I didn't change anything, it didn't ask me if I wanted to save. Otherwise, it would have asked me if I wanted to save. So now that I know what our command is, we can go yarn start. And we've already set up this project to run the servers. So this is a little bit different than what you'd normally have if, you know, a project had been done. Whoops. Okay, so we already had our main project running on port 3000, so it has started. Our project started, server started on port 80. I'm afraid we're running the back end and not the front end one. Alright, let me just shut this down for a second. If you hit Control-C, that'll shut down your server. Generally, if you have something running in your command line and you want to get out of it, try Control-C. That works for a lot of things. So I'm going to restart this. And there we are. This should be better. Why is it so slow? Localhost. There we are. Oh no, did we implement the login system? No. Can I submit? No, I need a valid. I'm happy that we have the login system, and that's awesome, but it just slowed me down here. It's been a while since we've worked on this project. I really do want to finish this up and launch it, but we've just gotten sidetracked by these other important projects. And I closed down my email, which that is smart. Let's let me open up my email again. I think I can get to it from here. Whoa. Oh no. I restarted, so now even my passwords aren't here. It's taking a lot longer than I thought. And I have to authenticate? You've got to be kidding me. It uses Mailtrap. Open it uses Mailtrap. Oh, Harsh is saying it uses Mailtrap? I'm trying to remember what we did. I don't remember for sure. So are you saying that it's not actually going to send the email yet? And I need to go to Mailtrap? Alright, let's check out Mailtrap. Alright. Okay, so we did get it in Mailtrap. Let's see. Alright, here we are. Yeah. Alright, so hopefully this actually is set up, or all this work has been for nothing. Alright, awesome. So let's zoom in here and see how this works. So we click on it. It opens up, it automatically fills, it puts the cursor in here. This is just a basic material design style text field. But then we also have this close icon, and so we can close it back up again. So that's how we want it to work. This is I would probably change this slightly. Just I would want this to have a little bit slower animation when it opens up, and it would be nicer if when this opened, the X kind of looked like it was part of this. So maybe if the X was here, or if this was moved up a bit so it integrated, you know, a little bit better. But basically, like, this is what I want. So even if this was implemented exactly like this, I would be happy. And if we had time later on, I would just kind of adjust it slightly. But that's what we want. So since this project is using MaterialUI, the beta version, I believe it is MaterialUI, the beta version, and it should be able to copy most of that code, and it should work. And all that, of course, is on GitHub under the, I believe it's Bulletin React is the GitHub project name. All right. Harsh is talking about the masonry. Yeah, the masonry uses Materialize, yeah, or the masonry stuff. So it's a blend of Materialize. Yeah, Harsh, I like how this works right here. This is good. The only thing we're going to have to solve or figure some way around is right now on our main project, which we'll go back to in just a minute, we have cards that are not only different heights, they're also different widths. So I don't think switching to Materialize columns is going to fix that, you know, by itself. I hope I'm mistaken about that, and it does. We'll have to see. We'll have to mess around. But I don't want to spend any more time on the home page until I show it to my boss, see what he thinks, because we may just end up wasting time on something that might not make it into the final version of the site. Evo says, I think I would slightly lighten the shadow under the nav bar. It just looks too dark, a little too dark for my liking. Yeah, maybe I'll have to see if this is basically, sorry, if you ever see anything in any of the projects that seems like it's not in line with the material design standards, let me know. I will definitely change it if that's the case. So if the shadow recommended for, you know, the app bar here is not the right shadow, I'll change it. You know, no problem. I want to keep everything consistent. So let's see. We'll have to look at it in our other project as well and see if it's this dark. I don't remember doing anything custom to darken this, but you never know. Yeah, you're right. Evo says it looks a little out of place. You're right with this elevation. It does seem odd. Maybe before, I mean, this is still a work in progress, right? So this isn't live anywhere, but I mean, you could see this obviously has an elevation, but then this doesn't. And it just makes it's an odd effect here. You know, if we were to like pan this and be able to look at it like straight on, it would be like this is up a lot higher than this side nav, you know, but from here it looks like it's just odd, right? I mean, the way the shadows are, there should be something with the shadow, right? Either this should have a shadow here, or there should be some sort of slight shadow on this edge. So I agree. I think that looks weird. I'll have to go back to the documentation, see how it's handled there, and then Yeah, and then we'll have to figure it out, because even, you know, right now the sidebar is just completely flat against the background, right? So it has no elevation at all. Yeah, we'll have to handle. Oh well, we're not working on this bulletin project today, so I'm getting kind of sidetracked. But I definitely agree with you, Evo. This does look weird, and it kind of breaks the illusion of the different elevations. All right, so let's close out. Oh, Rook says, sorry for derailing you from the main site project. Nah, don't worry about it. I mean, that happens. That's, I think that's kind of how things always are. You see something on one project and it reminds you of something else, and you end up, you know, going around to different things. So that's just normal. Where do I have on GitHub? Post support masonry to MaterialUI. Oh, all right. I just noticed this issue, Harshit. So thanks for making that an issue. I don't think I made one for it. So thank you. Let's shut down this server. I was actually 2 servers, the front end and back end. And now let's start this one up again for our main project. Alright, so it looks good. Let's verify that is working. And the ngrok link still should work. Yeah, oh, Evo, don't worry about being nitpicky. I mean, nitpicky is good. Nitpicky, I think, is the difference between a good site and a perfect site, right? A great site, because somebody will see that. Not everybody, but someone will see that, and if it's good, they probably won't even notice. But if it looks weird, they will notice, and they'll have a bad experience with it. All right, so let's get started. We actually have 8 minutes left in this Pomodoro session, and I will take a break and go back to the live chat, because there's a lot up top that I just kind of skipped over. John Hansen said he saw it too. John, your light bright thing that you made, that I shared on Twitter, it's getting a lot of love on Twitter. It's getting some retweets and likes and stuff, so everybody likes it. So you did a great job on that. I shared it with some of my coworkers, and they were like making designs on it and screenshotting it and then sending on Slack. So really cool. Alright, Evo says, it's like that one smudge you made on your car 3 years ago, which nobody else sees except for you. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's definitely me. I noticed like the one tiny spot on a shirt, you know, that I got like pasta sauce on a long time ago. And it always bothers me if I ever wear that shirt. Like, somebody's going to see that tiny spot. No one ever says anything. Alright, so let's go. First step is, let's figure out what content we're going to bring over. Once we figure that out, we got to figure out how are we going to get all the content, what fields do we need to bring over. We'll use our migrate.js program to pull the data out of the SQL Server database and then use the WordPress API to put it into the MySQL database. Once we have it there, then we're going to have to create a GraphQL query to get the data out, and we're going to need a new page, a new React component to put the data in. So that's the plan. Once we have the data in, we see what we have, then maybe we'll style it a little bit. And if you notice as we're going, I'm not making these perfect, right? We're just styling a bit so that they don't look so terrible. This is kind of on purpose because I'd rather just get a bunch of stuff in there, be able to show it to other people in my department, get some feedback before I do that fine-tuning, because we have a tight deadline and I don't want to waste time. So I'm going to try to leave everything really rough at first. because if we have the data there and it doesn't look perfect, we can still launch, and the site will be a million times better than the current site because it'll be fast. It'll be easy to find. It'll be very clean and not cluttered. We can always fine-tune it later. Ideally, I'd love it to be perfect before launch, but it's not going to happen. It's not reasonable given the amount of time that we have. I do have hopefully some interns that are going to start working for me in like 2 weeks or something, but I don't really know how soon they're going to be able to get in and start helping, so I can't really rely on that to help speed things up. I mean, maybe best case scenario, I get all 3 interns that are considering and they're great and they know what's going on and they can help, but I'm not planning on it. I'm planning on, you know, basically me and you all helping, doing all the work for the most part. All right, let's see. Okay, so let me get something done in these last 4 minutes here, and then I'll go back to the live chat and do the questions. Where's our database? You know what? It'll be better if we go. Franciscan. If we go to the site itself, it'll be way easier to just pick it up than looking through records in a database. I want to try to pick out main content sections. So far we have faculty member profiles, we have the directories for the different departments, and we have all the news stories. So I want to try to just pick out what's a section that stands out as a really important section. And I'm doing it like this because what if we can't get all the sections into the site before we launch? Let's make sure we have all the important sections first, and if there's stuff that needs to come in after, then that's fine. I'm not worried about it. So let's go to the about, employment, HR, consumer information. I'm mostly trying to pick up things that would be for prospective students. If something is geared towards like current employees or current students, I'm not worried about, because that essentially shouldn't be on this site anyway. We have another internal site that should handle all of that. All right. Core curriculum, academic departments. We haven't brought these over. I started to do some work to figure out where this was at in the database. I think we should bring these over. These are definitely important. Prospective students will most likely want to check out our different departments and, you know, figure out what we teach here. So, all right, so it's under the departments. Let's go here. This accounting, business administration, economics. Okay, so departments, ACC-BUS-EC. Really not liking that that URL, but we'll have to keep that in mind, because this is a place that I think we do want to try to keep the same URLs. There's going to be a limited number of departments, so if we have to manually put in and change the slugs on these to make a match, I'm okay with that. Right? I definitely didn't want to do it with the 540 some news posts that we brought in yesterday. I'm willing to do it for these departments, though. All right, so let's see. I believe the content that we'll want to keep over anything is this and possibly this. These are links. All right, these are our links elsewhere. I'm just making sure there's no toggles here for the content. These are fine. These, we can recreate this and pull this from faculty profiles if we want. Let's see, this program, accounting, these read more things. I'm not really worried about this. This is, I don't think this is super important to have something like this. All right, so now let's find where this data is. So I've done, and this is going to slow. Let me open up on another screen just in case. I don't think there's any private data in this database, at least in the part that I've taken out of here, but better safe than sorry. So I'm going to open on my other screen just to make sure that everything's okay. And if it is, then I'll bring it over on this screen and show you. What I've done is I've pulled out a lot of the data from that database and I've put it into a Google Sheet so that I can more easily sort the data, filter it, search for things. It's a lot easier for me to do that in a Google Sheet than it is for me to come up with the correct SQL queries. So that's why I'm doing it this way. It should be in my recent documents, I hope. So alright, I believe this is it. It's a really huge one, so hopefully it doesn't mess anything up. Alright, good. This is what we have. Unfortunately, I didn't bring over all the data, so once we find what we want, we're going to have to try to search for it based on the ID, which is okay. We're already set up with a query to do that. So I'm going to try to find, and let's see, let's just start typing in business programs. Alright, so we've got that. That's definitely not it. Franciscan. That's not it. Oops. It might be frozen. It is. Let me refresh the page. Maybe I should pull this into Excel. Maybe it's just too much strain on a Google Sheet. Alright, let's exit that page. And let's pull that same data into Excel. It's asking me to update it. I don't want to update it. Alright, there we are. So Excel just opened up really huge on my other screen, so I can't see the live chat anymore. Alright. If it says it looks like the SQL query might have been easier after all. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Alright, so now I have this open in Excel, and let's do a find. Are there no keyboard short? There we go. Business programs. There we are. Got it. And this is not good. Not good. Alright, well, let's search. Oh no. 222. Yeah, let's search for folder 222. The reason I'm saying this is not good is that the different content types in folder 222, they're not all, it's not what I wanted. But let's just check it out. So let me find. This is our Microsoft SQL Operations Studio. Let's get, I always forget how to do a new query. Nope. How do I do a new query? There we are. Okay. I'm gonna need to. The easiest way is just gonna be to pull this. That way I don't have to type it all out again. And so let's paste that in and use what I want to see is everything, and then we'll pare it down to what we just need. So we're going to select everything from the folder content or the table content. I'm not sure what the terminology is. Where the folder ID is 222, and I don't want any records where there's no content. All right, so that makes sense. That's a waste. We don't want those. So let's run that, and it's going to ask me to pick the server, and this is the server. All right, so here's what we're working with. I don't really care about these right now. Content title and the HTML are really what I want to see the most. Sample program. Well, this is not as bad as I thought. All right, actually, this is a little bad. These are just menus. All right. All right, let's think about this for a second before we bring it over. Let me check my timer. It's got to be up by now. It is up. I must not have heard it. Okay. All right. Let's take our break right now. I'm going to go back to the live chat. This will give me a second to process, what with the data we just saw and what we're going to do with it. When the timer's up, I'm going to explain why I think this is going to be a little bit of a problem. All right. So let me scroll up and go down through our chat. Also, we have a major problem. Alright, it's good. My Spotify wasn't working. No, it is. So we're good. Let's see. Alright, so the first half of everything in the live chat is just about how the stream was not operating properly. Everything was lagging or stuck. So Blake asks if I've ever done any social media marketing. Yes, I have. So when I was freelancing, so this was maybe like 2.5 years ago, I stopped. Well, I didn't stop freelancing completely, but I stopped like actively looking for clients. I would do social media marketing and pretty much anything else that a small business might want that had anything to do with the internet. So social media marketing was a part of that. It's not my... I didn't really enjoy social media marketing as much as I enjoyed other things. It was... I don't know if I want to say it was my least favorite part of what I did, but it was definitely low on the list of things that I like to do. It was... But if you have any questions, Blake, about social media marketing, let me know. In my department, we do a lot of social media marketing. I don't handle it directly at all. I have access to some of our accounts, and for like an emergency, if several other people in the department are all sick and we can't get a hold of them, then I can do it, but that's not really my thing. But if I still know a little bit about it, so if you have any questions, let me know. Evo says, that's the way I like to work as well. Work out the base first and start perfecting it afterwards. With clients, it's usually that they find the base good enough, even though they said they don't. Yeah, that's... Yeah, the only problem I've had with that, and I like to do it, I think it's the best, is sometimes you go in to show clients, or in my case, other people that I work with here, they're expecting, when you go to show them, sometimes they're expecting too much, and you're just showing them kind of like a concept, like first draft type of thing, and they're really disappointed, and they start asking about all these little details, and they kind of miss the point of, this is a big picture overview just to kind of show you what's possible and what's going on. So sometimes they can be disappointed and get stuck on some of the little rough details. So I do have to like warn people going into a meeting when I'm going to show them this, like, hey, it's not finished, it's just a rough draft. Like, if you see something that's wrong, like, it's probably going to be finished. I still welcome any input, but I do have to be careful about that. I think I walked into a meeting one time, and somebody that is higher up where I work said they hated it. They hated my project. I think I had sent a link out to it before the meeting, and then I found out that they said they hated it. So at the meeting, I was very careful to explain everything, since I knew going in that it wasn't exactly understood that it was a first draft. Oh, Rook had to go. Sorry I missed that. You're probably already gone, but bye anyway. I'm sure you'll watch this later on. Evo says, wow, that site took really long to load. I think that you were talking about this site, this main Franciscan website. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think anything we build will be perceived as better, because right now the load times are so bad. I think a lot of people don't even stick around to see the site. I'm not going to use that as an excuse to slack off. I really want to make a good site in its own right, but we have that going for us. Our site is most definitely going to be way faster than this site. I want it to be faster than most sites out there. Certainly any of our competitors, other universities. I want this to be the fastest site. Philip says, is that out of the box Visual Studio Code? Any special extension to get that view? Yeah, I do have some different extensions, so maybe I don't have the sound enabled on this. Let me refresh and see. Allow notifications. Huh. Alright. I keep missing that the timer's up. So I do have some things. So my theme is Seti, so it's S-E-T-I. That's the theme that I use. And I also use a bunch of plugins to handle React type stuff. So if you look up React is it React Food Truck? I think that's what it's called. React Food Truck is a plugin that will automatically download a bunch of other plugins for you that all have to do with making it easier to develop React applications in Visual Studio Code. So I checked that out. I have very few additions to that setup. So if you want your setup to look more like mine, then I start with that. And then if there's something that still doesn't look the same, ask me. And I can kind of look more into my plugins. I really can't tell you what I have offhand. I'd have to look myself. Alright, let's see. Oh, let me start my timer here. Alright, so... Oh, sorry, I just saw this. This is really exciting, so I'm going to read this comment. John Hansen said, Quincy is going to put my Lightbright on freeCodeCamp as an extracurricular project. Cool. Yeah, alright. That's awesome. John, I'm so happy about that. That's really, really cool. That's going to be a fun project for people to do. Wow. Really cool. Really cool. If you all haven't seen John's Lightbright project on CodePen, check it out. If you want a link, check out my Twitter page. I posted or I retweeted something from John that has the link to it yesterday. So it'll be in one of my top posts. Check it out there, and if you like it, give John some love on CodePen and Twitter. It's cool. It's really cool. All right. So let's go back to our data, quickly. What do I do with it? Oh, way over here. All right, let's go back to our data. And all right, so this is what I'm worried about. This is my problem. So I was hoping that I could find a folder or something that had all of the main programs in a folder. But that's not the case. What we have is everything that's under like the business department is all here, but they're all different types. So these are called quick links, which are basically just lists of links, which we may or may not need. I'll have to check closer into these links. I mean, they might not even work with our new structure. I'm trying to keep all the URLs the same, but I don't think we can keep all of them the same. Is this a drops? Finance classes text. I mean, and they have text. These are all text for specific sets of classes. Up here we have all these like programs that are really kind of like sub-programs underneath this main header. So this is kind of the main thing. And then pretty much everything else on here is under that. It's kind of a subsection of that. So it's going to make it a lot more difficult just to pull all this stuff in under one post type. Alright. Vince just asked if I could share the link to the Lightbright thing. Yeah, on the next break, the next 5-minute break, I'll find the link and I'll share it. All right. I'm gonna go over here and see if there's anything that might differentiate any of this stuff. It looks like these teasers are going to be pretty worthless. So some of them might be okay. Hmm. All right. Well, it looks like we could get, at the very least, the text for these different programs, and I think that will be worthwhile. Let's double check here. So from this main academics page, these are all the departments listed. And then these underneath here are listed as majors. Alright, let's see what what the URL structure is like for one of these. Oh, it's just accounting. There's not even anything in between. Let's verify that it's the same. Oh, this is not good. Not good, not good. I mean, where are we gonna find this? This is going to take a lot more manual work. Alright, cool. Vince found the link. Awesome. Wow. Alright, let's grab, I guess, some different content. Because this is just not, I mean, this is not going to work out. I wonder if there's consistency. Departments, nursing, okay. And now they have the major that's nursing. Alright, maybe I should just go, we'll get some data from somewhere else because this is a mess. Academics. Alright, let's check academics. Well, we looked at academic departments already. Academic affairs, Austrian semester. Curriculum. So this is where all those majors pages were. Alright. Alright, so we basically have two different listings that have a lot of the same information. So all the majors that a student can take are listed on this page here. Then there's the other page that we just came from that lists academic departments. So these majors are grouped into different departments, but for some reason the URLs on these, which should say franciscan.edu/majors and then slash whatever the major is, don't. It's just franciscan.edu/ and then whatever the major is. And that makes it a little bit weird. And the other thing that makes this tough is within the same folders, which is really the only reliable way that we found to pull in data, like all of a certain type. So within the folders, it includes both the pages for majors and the pages and content for departments, as well as some other stuff. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. What if we made a content type to house both programs and majors? Within that content type, we had a category set up, and we had a category for program and a category for major, so that when we go to grab that data for our app, we could sort it out. Yeah, we could sort those out so that we can just grab all the programs, or we could just grab all the majors. Maybe we'll need to have, I think we're going to have two taxonomies. So we're going to need some set of like categories, but then also maybe tags that go along with the name of a program, because we're going to need to be able to bring in program info or links to programs within those. Alright, so we don't have to decide that yet. First thing we have to do is bring the data over. Unfortunately, we're going to have to manually check and say which ones are majors and which ones are programs, because there's no reliable data, it seems, that we could pull that and do it programmatically. So let's test it by first bringing in this folder 222 that we found. Let's bring in 222, see what we have, categorize what we need to, and then get rid of what we need to. That'll give us an idea of how long it'll take per folder, and then we can figure, hey, is this worth it? Is this not worth it? Alright, that's the plan. That's the plan for now. Alright, so let's go to our migrate.js program here. Let me make the font size larger, and we're going to go 222. That's what we want. We don't need date created. I am going to keep content. I'm going to keep the content teaser. Some of the teasers are nonsense. They're not actually even real sentences, but some of them do look like they'd be useful, so we're going to keep them. We want the content. We want the title, content ID. Alright, good. So we have that. Let's go through and see. Alright, content title, we are replacing that. That's going to be the slug. For now, that's okay. No, we don't need to do that. Yeah, we determined yesterday that we for these and for some things we don't need to change the title before we put it in as the slug, right? And in fact, we don't even need to add a slug. It will be automatically added. Alright, so let's do that. So we don't have to worry about that at all. It really wouldn't matter either way, but we'll let WordPress handle how to manipulate those slugs. We're probably going to have to manually change the slugs anyway. Let me check my time here since, alright, about 10 minutes. In about 10 minutes I'm going to go back to the live chat. I see there's more questions in there and I definitely want to get to them. Alright, we don't want the date anymore. We are going to bring in the excerpt. Publish, title, content. Alright, great. This is what we want. We need to change the... We need to change the name somewhere, right? Where do I have it? I don't want that right now. Why can I not find the place where I need... There we are. There it is. Alright, so what are we going to call this post type? I guess we're going to call it majors and departments. I'm going to call it majors for now. I'm going to call it majors. It wouldn't be that much work to manually take a lot of the data out and maybe make another post type for departments. And that might be something that I could get someone else to do. Alright, let's do that. So we're going to call this majors. Now we have to make a post type for that. So let's really quickly copy and paste, make a post type. Let's see, labels. Right. So let's copy what we did yesterday and make majors. So let's not copy that because we had everything singular and plural exactly the same. This one will be better. Alright, so that's major, and then all the plural we'll call majors. And then down here we'll do the same. Alright, so this is a bit of PHP. This is a WordPress plugin. So all we're doing here is making a new custom post type. We're giving it some labels that will appear in the admin panel, and then we're also just kind of telling it how it should act, the type of fields that it should have available for users to edit, and where it should appear. We want to make sure it does appear in GraphQL, so that we're able to grab that data from GraphQL. We're also telling it to appear in the REST API, which right now we're using a little bit just to get a visual of what the data looks like, but may not need that when we actually launch the site. And alright, so let's save that. I'm going to copy it, and let's go to our WordPress installation. I'm going to log in and go to our plugins and edit our plugins. This isn't the only way we could edit the plugin, but I haven't really set up any other way, so this is how we're going to do it for right now. Oops, and it's the wrong plugin. Here's our custom plugin. Alright, so we're going to paste the new stuff, update. If we have an error, it should tell us automatically, and so it doesn't have an error. We do have this warning, making changes to active plugins is not recommended. So we just did, nothing broke. This isn't really a live site. On a live site, probably wouldn't do that. So now that that's there, we should be able to run our migrate.js program, and everything should migrate over. Yesterday I made some mistakes. This doesn't work on the first try, so we'll see if I forgot anything this time. Let's go node migrate.js. Yay! Cool, it worked. Wow, I didn't realize there were that many in there. Alright, cool. We'll shut this program down. Remember we did Control-C, and that shut that down. And now we can check our WordPress installation. And what we should have is a place for majors. And if we click on there, nothing's in there. What happened? Let's double check our migrate.js file. Well, it said it was inserted, but it obviously was not. Maybe it's not supposed to be plural. Let's give that another shot. There we are. Okay, so the problem was I supposed to use the singular major instead of the plural majors. Alright, 2 more minutes. I'm going to get to the live chat and answer some questions. Let's see what we have. Header. Yeah, I don't really want that. Right? Do we really want the header? I don't know. Maybe it would be useful. Better right now to not delete if we don't have to. I am interested to see what these quick links are. Alright, so these are our relative links, which that's good. Some of these are links to our we have an outside, like a third-party vendor that called Smart Catalog that handles all of our course descriptions and things. So those links will still work. Alright, it looks like these links will still work. So maybe we'll use them. Oops, and the time's almost up. So let's let's see what time it is. Alright, let me go to live chat. We'll answer some questions. While I'm answering the questions, let me know if you want to continue on now and build out a page to put some of this data on. I'm thinking what we might have to do is grab multiple pieces from here to build out the page. Yeah, we're gonna have to build this differently than we built any of the other pages. I think if we want to avoid having to like hand code anything or make, yeah, it'll be a little bit more work coming in, but then I think it should make things go faster as we bring in the other folders for this. So let's give it a shot. But let me know if you'd rather wait and do that on a different stream. We've already been streaming. It's about an hour and a half. So it's going to end up being really long. I know it's getting late for some of you. So anyway, please put in the live chat now if you think we should just save this for tomorrow's stream or if we should keep going today. I could do either one. I'm okay with either one. Alright, so let me go back up to where I left off and get these questions answered. Oops. I'm going to do the short break, but if I have to go over, I'm fine with that. I want to get these questions in. Oh, Evo says, I have my first non-intern job interview next Monday, and I'm really stoked. I am too. That's really exciting. I don't know how like the details that you could give of that on the live stream, but I'd love to hear more details about like what's the job, you know, like, and I give, you know, any help. I'm happy to give it. I've obviously interviewed before for jobs, but I've also been on the other end interviewing developers. So I don't know, maybe I could be able to give you some advice if you want, right? I'm no expert. I'm just happy for you and want to help you get the job. So I don't know how helpful I'd be, but that's really cool. Definitely. So when it's next Monday, all right, you have to, if you get a chance after the interview, come back in the live chat. Let us know how it went. I'm going to be waiting to hear. If you can't make it to the live chat, like let me know on Twitter or something. Let's see. Vince says, that's not regular HTML. The element not in the head, and what is... yeah, there's weird stuff going on with this HTML. Harshit said, that's the beauty of Ectron. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this HTML is weird. It's, I wonder if we could see, where's the business program? Yeah, we should be able to see some of the weirdness going on here. Whoa, this one's not too bad. These all normal P tags? You gotta be kidding me. Hey, we finally got something with some good markup. Alright, but you're right, we have been getting some weird markup. We've had to do some weird stuff with data earlier, like changing the names of some of the tags with JavaScript in our components before we render anything, using CSS to just hide stuff that's just weird and shouldn't be there. So we have to work with this now. The plan long term is to clean all that up, have separate fields in WordPress in our post types for each piece of data, and then to pull that in, and it'll be so much nicer once we get that. There'll be no need for anyone who deals with the data to really know HTML. So it'll be alright, but we're doing it this way to save time. I wish we had more people, you know, that worked in my department that could do some of this. You know, I could bring it in, set up the post type, and then they could just work on data entry basically. But we just don't have that right now, especially like the students are still on their break for Christmas, and so we don't even have student workers really to work on this. Evo says, and this is in regard to when I was saying that the current website's really slow, so the new website, anything should be an improvement. So he said, yeah, if the previous was really bad, then everything will be perceived as a huge improvement. It will, yeah, but not by everyone. There's a group of people at the university, mostly faculty members, that see any type of change as a bad thing, especially if it's a change in technology. So I'm sure that we'll have some complaints when it comes to that. But this site's not for an internal audience, it's for an external audience. So if anybody internally complains about it, I'll just remind them that, well, that you're not really the audience. The audience are high school students mainly. So that's what we have to keep in mind, is would a high school student look at this, know what to do, be attracted to this? So hopefully they will be. And I'm sure they'll appreciate the increase in speed. SJ says, normally never catch this live, usually watch the recordings the next day. SJ, I'm really happy you got to catch this live. Welcome to the live chat, and thanks for watching. Let's see. SJ says, wanted to let you know yesterday when you had the weird slug, it was because you highlighted the hyphen from the beginning of the slug and physically dragged it to the end of the slug. Oh no. And I didn't even know, I didn't catch that. Oh, thank you, SJ, for bringing that up, because I had no idea why it happened and then why it was fixed. So it must have just maybe automatically been fixed because I didn't save it, and then when I went to a different post, it just reverted. That's probably what happened. So, wow. Good catch on that. I mean, that must have been... That's a small detail, but I really appreciate you coming in the live chat and telling me. Now I'm not going to be worried about bringing in the slugs and stuff. You know, because that was, you know, entirely my fault. All right, cool. Can't believe I made a silly mistake and didn't notice it like that, but I really appreciate you saying that. Vince says... Vince says, LO, you mean I don't have to worry about running out of the black pieces of paper with the patterns on them? I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what I said for that response. So Vince, let me know what I was talking about. Let's see. Vince says, I'm new here. Oh no, you're talking about Lightbright. That's it. Okay. Took me a little while to figure out what's going on. So yeah, if anybody actually used Lightbright when you were a kid, you remember, like, you had the box, right? And there was a light bulb, literally a light bulb in that box, and then this black piece of plastic with all the holes in it. And then you would take a black piece of paper that had a pattern on it, and I think it had little letters to let you know what color to put in there. And you stuck that on the grid, and then you pushed little plastic pegs in there, and the light would shine. And the plastic was like semi-transparent, right? So you'd push the pegs in there and it would shine with all these different colors, right? But if you use the paper once, it's done for, basically, because you're not going to remember all the colors and everything. But But anyway, so that's how Lightbright worked, if you're not familiar with Lightbright. But John's version, done in React on CodePen, is entirely reusable. It's awesome. Let's see. Guitar6029 says, hello, would you say React is more popular than Angular? Yeah, that's a big debate. I can only give you my personal opinion. I don't really know numbers for sure. But I'll say this: React is for sure growing in popularity at a faster rate than Angular is. I see, like, just looking at I look at job postings a lot. I think it's a great way to try to keep your skills in line with what companies really want. A lot of like bigger this is just my perception from what I've seen, so just realize that this is just me talking here. The bigger companies that switched to Angular when Angular was a big deal, like, I don't know, let's say like 5-6 years ago or something, they made the switch to Angular. That takes a lot of work to make the switch. They're not really as quick to switch to React now. Smaller companies seem to be switching to React. Like, obviously newer companies seem to all be going with React, all your startups and stuff. And then smaller companies that maybe either didn't do Angular are now doing React, or maybe if they're just more open, they don't have a huge code base and they're more open to switching it over, it seems like they're going with React more. That's just my observation from job listings, right? But I don't really know of any like specific numbers as to like, well, how many sites use Angular versus React, or how many companies use it. So I'm not sure. If I had to pick one that has more momentum, I'd put my money on React for sure. It just seems like you see so much more about React out there being talked about on Twitter, in blogs and stuff. So it's not like React is or Angular's out of the picture. It's definitely not. It's a big player. A lot of people use Angular, but React's just got a lot of momentum right now, and it has for a couple of years now. Anyway, hopefully that's a good answer. I am a big believer in the idea that there's a lot of different ways to solve a problem, and not one way isn't the way to solve every single problem. So for me, React is helping me solve a lot of problems right now. But it's totally fine with using other tools, other solutions, or if other people look at the same problem and use a different solution, it's fine with me. At the end of the day, if you fulfill all the user stories, all the requirements for the project, and you've really designed something that provides a great user experience, it doesn't really matter what you used, right? It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing good code, then that's fine. Everything else is cool to debate, but from a user's point of view, it doesn't matter at all, and usually from a client's point of view, it doesn't matter at all. So don't feel bad no matter what you're using, as long as you're producing good work. You're where you need to be, right? If you're out looking for a job and you need to know like who's hiring, what skills do I need, that's a different story. But if you're already making money and doing good work, then I'd say don't worry about what the next best thing is. Let's see. Philip says, I'll say JavaScript is the most popular. Yeah. Yeah. Guitar says, everyone is jumping on frameworks but never learning JavaScript. Yeah, I would say there's some truth to that. I see that statement kind of repeated in a lot of different places. So I agree. My take on this is, when you're first starting out, yes, learn your basics of JavaScript, right? But you shouldn't try to master JavaScript before you go into a framework. Here's why. Assuming that you're trying to make money while you're doing this and you're not a full-time student that can afford to just take your time, you're going to miss out on a lot of money if you force yourself to just use JavaScript and don't jump in on some type of framework. And just because you go to a framework doesn't mean you stop learning JavaScript. My path, if I was going to give advice as to a path to take, is learn your basic JavaScript enough to be able to understand what's going on in a framework. Then start learning the framework, but also keep learning JavaScript at the same time. Then you'll get the best of both worlds. Then you'll get to learn the framework. You'll start working on projects like that. If it's an in-demand framework, you could probably get a job or start making money, at least freelance, with it. And you keep building up your JavaScript skills. I learned a lot of new ES6 stuff when I switched to React because it was being used in React. There's a lot of things that I never had to do, a lot of JavaScript stuff I never had to use until I started using React. So switching to React actually helped me and pushed me to learn more JavaScript. So I think it's good to keep in mind that it's not like either or, right? You can do both at the same time. If you do it right, you can do both at the same time. So that's my official advice. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Someone shouldn't just start out day one with React, right? Day one, you start out should be plain JavaScript stuff, for sure. You need some foundation, but just don't feel like you need to wait, for a really long time before you switch. It's not going to hurt your skills. You can keep on learning JavaScript and a framework and whatever else you want at the same time. So, I mean, that's my opinion based on my experience. So I'm not going to hate on anybody that has a different opinion. All right, let's see. John Hansen says, doesn't GraphQL allow you to make better queries that pull only the data you need, even if categorized in many folders to use? It's supposed to work better than just REST API, yes? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, GraphQL will let us grab exactly the data that we want. And that's what we'll end up. I think we'll end up having a lot of really detailed queries for some of these pages where we need to grab a lot of different, parts of pieces of data. So we'll have to figure that. We're going to have to learn more about querying with GraphQL as we go on. And I know some of you already know a lot about it. I'm for sure going to have to learn more though. Vince says, how do you bill for a job like this? It looks like they gave you a password to their database, but very little information about the database architecture. Is it hourly? All right, so I'm on a salary. So I am a full-time front-end developer for a university, and I'm on a salary. So I'm not billing for this. If I was doing this freelance, hourly would probably be the way to go. If I were to give a lump sum, here's how much the project, it would be huge. It would be a big amount because of the amount of just not knowing, right? So the reason I don't know anything about this database structure is because no one here knows anything about the database structure. The site was built by a company that we hired to build it, and so we don't know. There was really only one person ever maintaining anything on the back end, who they don't work here anymore, and they didn't use any type of version control for us to be able to go back and see what happened here. So if you look back on the stream, we've kind of looked at the back end of this thing. We've looked at the database. We've tried to figure out what's going on, even into some of the templates that were used. It's all detective work right now. We're all always just searching, how is this going on? So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating that we have to spend so much time just trying to figure out where this data is and how it was categorized and things like that. But I mean, that's the job. That's what we have to do. So that's why I really want to put thought into how we're pulling this data in, because I don't want the next person to have to deal with this same problem. right? I want to have some logic to the way we structure things, and then that, you know, this will never have to happen again. Vince says, in the description, it says front-end developer at work, but there's an awful lot of back-end stuff going on here. I know it can't be avoided, but avoiding this is the reason I want to do front-end. Yeah, Vince, I agree. So when I first started doing this stream about, I don't know, 9 months ago, something like that, I really did do more front-end. My title was front-end developer. Realistically, I've started doing a lot more back-end stuff as the year has gone on. You know, potentially, depending on the company, I maybe could be considered full stack. It just depends on, you know how titles are in this industry. Like, they're kind of loose and they're not really heavily regulated, right? You know, any industry that has, you know, JavaScript Ninja as a title, you know, like, titles don't mean that much. So maybe it would be worth changing up the description on the video a bit to reflect the fact that we don't just do front-end work. You know, sometimes, you know, we get really into back-end work, and there are some streams where it's just back-end and we don't do any front-end. So that's a good point, actually. That's a really good point. I think I can't do anything about my title, but I can definitely change the description to more accurately reflect the work that we do on the stream. Let's see. Evo says, currently in my 3rd year of school, but my capacities are hardly reached at school, so I decided to seek a development job. Cool. Evo says, the job is at a communication company who campaigns for multinationals. My task will either be back-end or front-end with Angular. I will hear the details next Monday. All right, very cool. Very cool. I hope it works out for you. And then you'll know Angular. You'll be like my person that knows Angular on the stream. So if we have to work with that, I can ask you all the Angular questions. Let's see. Alexi says, are you okay? You look kind of tired. I feel kind of tired. I feel tired. I had, I mean, I guess I went to sleep at an okay hour, but my youngest son was up last night, and so I had to get up and get him a drink or something. Yeah, I think he wanted a drink, and he just wouldn't quit crying without a drink. It was like, he's really cute, but in the middle of the night, like, you're just so tired. So I got up and got him a drink, and he went back to sleep. So kind of had interrupted sleep. So maybe that's why I'm tired. I didn't have as much caffeine as I normally do today, too. So that could be it. So I apologize. I had like an energy drink before the stream because I know it's no fun for you all if I seem like really tired and depressed during the stream. So I try to stay upbeat, but I think I'm okay. Like, I'm not. My eyes feel tired, but otherwise my body's like okay. Thanks for asking, though. I appreciate the concern. Evo says, the only thing I am currently struggling with are questions for my interview, but I guess that is just due to lack of understanding as to how they go to work on projects. Yeah, do you know at all, Evo, if they're going to ask you like technical questions, like algorithms and stuff to solve? Because there are some websites that help you to practice for that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, they may not have told you ahead of time, but I could give you some links or something to websites that'll help with that. Vince says, that's how real light worked back in the day. Light behind the black piece of paper, and you poked holes in the colors back. Yeah. Vince, don't worry about it. I played with Lightbright back in the day. That's how I totally remember that. I loved Lightbright. They look so cool. Do they still sell those? I don't know. I think maybe I want to get it for my kids, but my daughter Cordelia is like a year and a half old, and she would definitely try to eat it. She would try to eat the little pegs. And if not eating it, she would just throw them around. So we'd probably lose the pegs. Maybe I'll wait until she's a little bit older, because otherwise we would just lose all the colored pegs in a week. Rumble Bros says, I'm having a hard time between going full stack or becoming a back-end developer only. I know doing full stack means... Sorry. I know doing full stack means I'll have more chances, but specialization is also a good thing. Rumble Bros, I'd say think about if you don't. I'd say this: if you're okay financially and can wait a little bit before like getting a good dev job, then do what you really like to do the most. If you really like back-end and you don't care for front-end stuff, stick with back-end and specialize. Get really good at that. If you really need a job and you think going full stack will give you a better chance at getting a better job, maybe even making more money, then go with that. You can always, maybe get to a point later on where, you have a job, you've been there for a year or two, and you're comfortable financially, and then you can start looking around for a job that something you really want to do. I don't know. My dad always told me, sometimes you just have to get a job. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. He would say if it was fun, they wouldn't call it work. So I still have that in me a little bit. That's like sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to pay the bills. So I always keep that in mind. Just kind of be really practical and realistic about that. Do that, but then keep working towards your goal of what you really want to do. So I don't know if that really helps you, in terms of an answer, but I mean, I do know that jobs for full stack developers usually pay more than for front end or back end. So if you're really looking for an increase in pay or something, full stack is probably where you want to go. But it may not be worth it if you really don't like doing the front end stuff. Alright, SJ says, I've never heard of Lightbright. Does that mean I'm young? Blake's never heard of it either? Oh man, no, y'all never heard of Lightbright? We have to do something about that. We need Lightbright. Let's see if we can get the Lightbright commercial. Alright, here's Lightbright. You're not going to be able to hear the sound. But this is the original 1970s Lightbright commercial. Now, I mean, I wasn't around in the 1970s. I remember using Lightbright in the late 80s, early 90s. But that's Lightbright. And now I'll have to go in and check. So the freeCodeCamp YouTube channel history will now have the Lightbright thing in there. So let's see. So if you've never used Lightbright, go check out John's version of Lightbright and use it. And then if you really, really like it, you could probably find a Lightbright. Maybe they still make them. If not, maybe you could get an old one on eBay. I should get a real Lightbright and have it right behind me, like on this shelf, and then I could write different things. That would be cool. Alright, back to the live chat. Vince says, GraphQL has to be supported server-side, doesn't it? Does Electron support GraphQL? As far as I know, Electron doesn't support GraphQL or much of anything, but we're pulling it into WordPress, and we have a plugin called wp-graphql that does all the work for us to make GraphQL work with WordPress. So that saved us a lot of time, and the guy, Jason, yeah, what's his last name? I can't remember his last name, but Jason, who created that plugin, has actually been with us on the live chat several times and helped us work through how to set it up. So really good plugin, and it did save us, because I mean, I wouldn't want to have to do all the PHP work to make GraphQL work with WordPress. I don't know a lot about PHP, and I'm not really interested in learning more about it right now. There's nothing wrong with PHP, but I just want to focus on getting better at JavaScript. Let's see. Alexi says, do you like front end more than back end? I don't know. That's a tough question. I guess I like front end right now more than back end because, all right, it's easier for me because that's where I started out at, and you immediately get to see the results and show other people the results, and they can say like, oh, that's cool. If you try to explain what you've done on the back end to people who don't really know about it, they don't really understand what's going on, and so I don't know, like, it's just, you get more positive feedback and things from people with front end stuff. So I don't know, but it's not like I dislike back end. Like, trying to choose between the two is really tough for me right now. It's like asking me what child I like the best, right? Yeah, so I like both. Maybe one day I'll make up my mind about which one I really like the best, but I can't right now. I like working with both. Let's see. Alexi says, I got started using React, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm more of a back-end guy. Yeah, that's how it is. I think depending on where you started, moving to the other side of things is always like more difficult. So like for me, front end seems easy and back end seems hard. But for a back end person, sometimes front end seems hard. Like I have an uncle that's been a software developer for, I don't know, since like the late 70s or something, and he does a lot of stuff with C#. And well, when we talk and I'm telling him about some of the stuff I'm doing, he's always like really impressed. And I'm like, listen, you've been doing this for so long, I've got nothing on you. And but he's like, no, like, I work with the back end stuff. This stuff's all new to me, and it's all impressive. So I kind of like that, just to keep that in mind. Sometimes I don't like the tendency for like some types of programmers to look down on other types of programmers and say that stuff's easy, right? Back end people say, oh, well, the front end, that's easy stuff, or whatever, because really nothing's easy in coding, in programming, right? It all takes hard work, and it takes hard work to be really good at it. So it's just different for different types. So there are certain things that you have to worry about in front end that you don't have to worry about back end, and vice versa. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. Evo says, not the Angular questions. We may not ever do anything Angular on this stream, so you might not get the questions. James Ross says, have you ever considered Gunner glasses or Flux for your eyes? You know what? I used to use Flux. I have considered the glasses. I follow a lot of coders on Instagram, and I saw some of them had just purchased some of those glasses, or they got it as a present or something for Christmas. And I got to thinking about them. Does anybody use those or know about them? Are they really helpful for eye strain? Like, my office is always dark. I keep the lights dim, and it cuts down on glare on my screens. I try not to keep my screens too bright to help out with it, but like, I can tell, like right now my eyes are fatigued. You know, I'm on a screen. I mean, you all know how it is. Like, we're looking at a screen all day. You know, and even when we're not working, you know, you got phones, you got televisions, right? I mean, we got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas, so like, I'm up at night trying to sneak in some time with the new Zelda game while my kids are asleep. Yeah, so if they work, I'd be interested in getting some. I never wore glasses though. It might drive me crazy to actually have them. I mean, I guess it would be like sunglasses, so it wouldn't be too bad. Umberto says, I loved Magnadoodle. Yeah, Magnadoodle was cool. I was never good with Magnadoodle. I like to do it, but some people drew like amazing things with Magnadoodles. It just takes like a lot of coordination and patience though. Let's see. Evo says, I didn't hear anything about technical questions from my recruiter, but I wouldn't be scared about those. I usually estimate my capacities at somebody with 1 year working experience. Thanks for the offer, though. Oh, cool. Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I don't know how much I could help you out anyway. I'm just excited. James Ross says, Light Bright is extreme choking hazard. Yeah. My little one, Cordelia is my youngest, right? 1.5 years. She's so cute, but she's the orneriest little baby. And, man, it's just like, she'll put some in her mouth that she's not supposed to. Walk up to you and open her mouth and let you see it, and then run away. Like, she's daring you, like, hey, look what I have. I'm not supposed to have it. Come chase me. Right? It's just... But she just looks so cute when she does it. You can't get mad. That's like... I love that little girl. She just like... I spoil her so much. I can't. She wants me all the time. This morning when I dropped... My wife had to drop me off at work because my car is not working right now. So... Cordelia was in the car, and I waved goodbye to her, and as soon as the car drove off, she just started crying and screaming. That was like the worst thing. It just broke my heart. But just she wants me around all the time. Anyway, sorry for the side. For the side. I mean, anybody, if you ever had a little one or something, I mean, I'm sure you understand. But it's just crazy how that little person there just, you know, you do anything for them. And they, you know, they're like kind of helpless without you. But anyway, not coding related. Sorry. Let's see. Sin says, go see Hyper.js. This is super hot. What's Hyper.js? I haven't heard of Hyper.js. Rumble Rose says, that's basically the same thing I've been thinking. I've been doing lots of back-end work for my own business for the last 2 years, so I've got lots of projects built for a portfolio. That's cool. I mean, having a good portfolio is where it's at. I mean, that's what people are looking for. What projects have you done? When we hire people here, that's all I want to know. I could care less about your resume. I only read the cover letter to make sure that people are literate, and I want to know, like, where's the projects? Let me see them. Let me see the code. Oh, cool. Jeff Miller says that they do still make light brights, and his daughter got one a few years ago. Awesome. I'm going to have to check in on that. Not right now. I'd like to get one for my office. I wonder if they make little ones. That would be safe, because Cordelia is rarely in my office. Alright. QTube said, I thought I clicked this to see some coding. Oh yeah, QTube. Usually at the end of the stream, we do question and answer. So like the first hour, we do mostly like coding. And then the second hour is mostly question and answer. I was thinking about doing some more stuff with this today, but I don't know, because the stream's getting really long now, which is fine. The question and answer is good. So we might not do any more code. If you want to see the code part, check out the recording of the video and just watch like the first hour. Well, I take it back. Skip the first 15 minutes because we had technical difficulties, and then watch the next hour after that. Vince says, I've been around long enough to remember watching that commercial on TV. SJ says, yeah, I was born in the late 80s. Yeah, I was born in 85. So I still like vaguely remember 80s stuff, and really like most of my childhood that I remember was from the 90s. Vince says, this is in response to Alexi, I started out as a back-end database developer before I knew anything about the web, and I definitely like front-end better. I'm sure opinions differ. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so Vince started with back-end, moved to front-end, and likes front-end. So, yeah, I think it's good to try both and see what you like, and then different people are just going to, prefer front-end or back-end or like both. All right. James Ross says, which of your children is your favorite? He said, okay, it's Cordelia. I don't know. They're all so different. It's crazy that they're all like, they all had like the same set of genes going in, right? And now they're all so different. So yeah, it depends. I mean, depending on how a certain child is acting, I may not like them that much at that moment. But overall, I just have a great time with them, and even as they get older, they change so much. They all have different personalities, so it's just so hard to make that call. My wife is different though. My wife will tell me like, this is my favorite child right now. She knows exactly, and it's usually based on which child gave her a hard time that day, and whichever one didn't is the favorite one. John Hansen says, a good perspective, Jesse. Problem solving is the key to all sides of coding. All are good and important. Cool. Thank you. I'm glad you agree. John Hansen says, they do make a travel size light bright. Oh, that's going on my Amazon wish list right after this stream for sure. Kat D says, what if your portfolio is a to-do app project and a Hello World project? Kat, it's better than nothing. Here's what I think. Some people say don't put like your projects, like your tutorial projects, on GitHub, but here's what I think. If that's all you have, put it on GitHub, because it proves that you've actually done some coding. Later on, when you get some real projects, then you might want to make those projects private or take them off GitHub. I really don't even worry about it. To me, here's the way I feel. If I see somebody that wants to work here and they have real projects mixed in with tutorials, that tells me that they're continuing to learn, right? And they're not too good for tutorials anymore, all right? And I like that. I appreciate that, because if I find a dev that isn't learning anymore, I don't want to work with that dev. No matter how good they are right now, in 2 years they're going to be terrible because they won't have kept up with anything. So Kat, go with that if you can, but try your best to get some other projects on there, as soon as you can, before you really start trying to apply for places. And they don't have to be paying projects. They could just be some side project that you really like, or you could try to contribute to other people's projects. So, like, you can contribute to the projects that we work on. I try to make some issues like easier for beginners to just learn the process of submitting a pull request on GitHub. So if you're interested in doing that, let me know. You can message me on Twitter or something, and I could help get you some more info. I mean, if you already know how to do it, that's cool. I don't want to assume that you don't, but if you need more help, let me know. Or find some other project that you really like and see if there's something you can contribute to, because employers will see that too. They'll see a record of your contributions even if it's not your own project. Hopefully that helped. Let me know if that wasn't helpful or if it was confusing or anything, and I'll try to clarify. Vince says, if you're curious, originally Oracle PL SQL developer for a phone company. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I've never done anything with Oracle. SJ says, I actually have special lighting in my office that's specifically designed for offices where the computer users spend hours on the computer. It's really good for the eyes. Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Maybe I'll have to look into that. I mean, I really should think about this. If I'm going to be a programmer for the next, I don't know, till I retire, right? I should probably think about the effect it's going to have on my eyes long term. Hemant said, please say something on full stack with React. I have to finish a voting app for FreeCodeCamp. I know React, but I'm confused to use React or not. Yeah, so I would say for React, like you could do full stack JavaScript, right? So, and you could use React on the front end and then Node on the back end. React works a little bit server-side as well, so you can do server-side rendering with React and then serve those pages, and then potentially do client-side routing and stuff, you know, once everything loads in the browser. So, you know, you can do some things like that. For your project, I don't think that would be necessary to actually do server-side rendering unless you really wanted to. But I definitely think it's a good idea to do full stack JavaScript all the way across. It just makes sense. You know, you learn one language and you're able to do front end and back end. I think that's cool. If you got to learn something else for a project, that's fine too, right? Like we use PHP sometimes. But if you're trying to learn and start out and being able to do things, then you'll save a lot of time by learning JavaScript and being able to write it on the front end and the back end. So, I mean, if you have the time and you like to learn more about React, it might be really cool to try to do that voting app with React and set up the back end with Node. If you're more comfortable with something else, though, and you just need to get it done, then, you know, go with that. I don't think there's any real reason why you really would want to use React for that. But I really like using it. I think it's improved the quality of my work. And I think it's fun to work with once you get the hang of it. I really enjoy it. Vince says, it looks like you're about to wrap up and I have to go anyway. I enjoyed this though. I'll look for your live stream again if I can. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Vince. Thanks so much. I really enjoyed talking with you on the live chat. So yeah, hopefully you can come back for another stream sometime. Hemant said, I saw some tutorials. They use 2 servers. It's confusing. Yeah. We use 2 servers sometimes for some of the things we do. So basically, you'd have a back-end server that's Node.js, and it handles it can handle things like routing, data, like grabbing data from a form or something and sending it off, emailing it, or using it with an API. And then you would have another server that would just run your React app. So usually, like if you have an API or something, then you want to run that as a separate server. You don't have to, I suppose. Trying to think how. Like you could, let me say it this way: you could have all the code in one project, right? All in one GitHub project, but you would still want to run that separately, right? Like you'd want run something on, let's say, port 3000. That would be like your React app, and then on port 8080 you'd run your API, and then like locally you could just hit that API, on that port. And then when you actually go to put that into a production setting, right, you would still run, your server on a separate port, right? And then you could just hit that from within the same server if you wanted to, and then have like your client side stuff or your React stuff publicly available. Hopefully that's not super confusing, but I would say, like, yeah, having 2 servers when you need like a back end and a front end is not unheard of. Let's see. Oh, cool. Cat D says yes. Very thankful. Thanks. All right. Cool. I'm glad I could help. All right, so I've gotten to the end of the live chat. I definitely don't really want to go any longer with this because we're already over 2 hours with the stream, which is fine, but I think it's really intimidating for people to see a video that's 2 hours long and say, like, wow, I'm not going to sit through 2 hours. So I like to keep it somewhere between 1 and 2 hours and don't go much over. Let's see. Who says, oh, Emmanuel said, I don't understand. All right, let me know what you don't understand. I'm assuming that you're talking about, like when I was talking about running 2 different servers. Let me know if that's the case, and I'll try to... I can pull up a repo where I ran 2 different servers if you want to see an example. Let me... I'm going to... Yeah, okay, let me pull up a repository that I did actually run 2 servers with. So... Let's go to, I don't think it's here. Let me go to my profile. I'll make everything bigger so you can see it as soon as I find the repository. And it was upstairs. There we go. Alright, so this was one of my projects that I did when I was doing the React Nano degree. This is how I did it. Oh, you know what? I think I had the server in 2 different spots. So this project, I was the first cohort to go through, so they changed it a little bit. When I first started this project, they had the server separate. And then a couple weeks later, when I checked back again, they had changed it so the server was actually in the same repo. But at that point, I was almost done with the project, so I didn't switch it over. So basically, here's what you would do. This is your React app, right? And if I go into source here, you can see I have, you know, just like a normal index.js and everything. And then over here, this is the API server where all the data is. So we have this server.js file. So what you do is you'd start this up, and then I'd be able to get posts. I'd be able to create posts and have them stored here. And I could get posts, I could edit them, but I still had to run this. And let me see where I had. Let's see if it's my reducers. No, it's utils. So you can see where I'm hitting that API. Oops, I forgot to make the text font size bigger. Sorry about that. Alright, so here, like, we're hitting that API. So I'm running the server on localhost 3001. I'm hitting that API to get the data. So like this just grabs all the posts. This one gets posts from a certain category. This one actually gets just one post based on an ID. This one obviously deletes a post. So you can see, like, we're hitting that API, that separate server. From this app would run, you know, its own on its own server, right? So, or, you know, in this case, on its own port on localhost. So I think this one would probably run on 3000, and then we had the API running on 3001. So this is not unlike what you would do in a lot of production apps. I mean, like right now, we are getting the data from WordPress through GraphQL. So that runs on its whole separate thing. And then in React, which we're running locally, we're grabbing that data, right? So we have 2 set up there. If you were to do JavaScript full stack, you would have the same setup. You would make some sort of an API to manage your content, and that would be running. And then you would have somewhere else, probably a React app that would run, and it would run so that clients could hit that, with their browsers, users, but it would grab the data from the API. So, I mean, I think it's a common thing, but just when we're talking about JavaScript and doing it all in JavaScript, it can be confusing. Like, why do we need two different ones? So anyway, that's why. Do you absolutely need two different servers? Probably not. I mean, think about the way WordPress works normally. Normally, you do everything just in WordPress itself. It hits the database, you use PHP to put together everything, and then it spits out markup to the client, right? But a lot of sites now are drawing data from separate APIs. So anyway, so that's kind of what I was trying to explain. All right, Emmanuel says, okay, I think I grasp it now. We'll read more on it. All right, cool. Cool, yeah. Thanks for the question, too, because I'm sure there were others that are either watching now or will watch later that probably were confused, too. I'm sure I didn't do a great job explaining it, but hopefully that maybe just helps you out a little bit, and now you'll know like what to look up to read more about it. All right, so I am going to stop streaming now. Let's see, tomorrow's Friday. All right, I'm pretty sure I don't have anything lined up for tomorrow, so I should be able to stream sometime around 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll most likely be coming back here working on the same project again. We'll see how much I get done between now and then. Maybe we'll pick up at the same spot. Let's see. Oh, Emmanuel said, "Oh, you did a great job. That's why I have to stay with you." All right, cool. He says, "Thanks so much." You're welcome. You're welcome. I appreciate you saying that. I'm glad I could help. All right, so I'm gonna wrap things up. I'll be back tomorrow, and until then, thanks for watching. Have a great day.